Welcome, curious minds, to a world of knowledge and discovery. We're thrilled to present to you our video dedicated to Les Cadeaux de Noël. Enjoy! Les Cadeaux de Noël, The Christmas Gifts, is an opera in one act composed by Xavier Leroux to a French-language libretto by Émile Fabre. Described as a heroic tale, it was premiered by the Opéra-Comique at the Salle Favart Theatre in Paris on Christmas Day 1915. Its story of four children, whose parents had been killed by German soldiers but who nevertheless found hope in a seemingly bleak Christmas, had a particular resonance with French audiences in the midst of World War I. The opera was a great success in Paris, and subsequently performed in Italy, Monte Carlo and Latin America. In this part of the video, we'll be diving deep into background and performance history and unraveling its profound impact. The Opéra-Comique, one of France's most prosperous opera companies, was hard hit by the outbreak of World War I in the summer of 1914. By October, 127 of its musicians, singers, and staff had been mobilized to the Western Front. The threat to Paris by the advancing German army had also led to the closure of the city's theatres until December 1914, when the theatres were allowed to reopen for matinee performances. In the meantime, the company's conductor-in-chief, Paul Vidal, and the other directors had managed to reorganize and stabilize the company. In 1915, in addition to revivals of past successes, several new works were presented, often with a military or patriotic theme, including Les Cadeaux de Noël. Its composer, Xavier Leroux, was well known on the Paris stages for his operas and theatre music. Three of his operas, La Reine Fiammette 1903, Le Cheminée 1907 and Le Carillonneur 1913, had premiered at the Opéra-Comique. The libretto of Les Cadeaux de Noël was written by the playwright Émile Fabre. In 1915 he became the general administrator of the Comédie Française and founder of the Théâtre aux Armes, a theatrical troupe which entertained French soldiers during the war. Les Cadeaux de Noël premiered at a matinee performance on 25 December 1915 in a double bill with Marcinet's Werther. The premiere performance was conducted by Paul Vidal with an all-female cast, apart from the 50-year-old baritone Henry Olbers, who played Purigine. The production was directed by Pierre Chury with the staging designed by Alexandre Bailly and Pierre Barthélemy Giusy. Giusy later recalled in his memoirs that the opera had been a triumph that left the entire audience in tears, adding, "The thrilling voice of Val and Clara, the radiant timbre of the young Simon Little Pierre, the touching acting of Claire's Emma, Carey Little Louis and Olber's Purigine, and the new sets designed by Bailly ensured a success for the work, with mothers scarred by the war sobbing in the back of the theatre. In the wings, the voice of my fine Messin Bellow imitated the voice of the Boche with a fierce hatred that made all hearts tremble, but they were immediately relieved when Little Pierre fired his avenging rifle." The opera received glowing reviews from the critics in Le Figaro, Les Annales du Théâtre et de la Musique, and La Nouvelle Revue for the poignancy and originality of Fabre's libretto and Leroux's charming, simple and emotive music. Described by Le Figaro in 1917 as having been a vast success in Paris, it was subsequently performed in 1917 at La Scala and the Teatro Costanzi in Italy with the same cast, and at the Théâtre du Casino in Monte Carlo in a new production. In Latin America, it was performed in 1916 at the Teatro Sols in Montevideo and the Teatro Municipal in Rio de Janeiro, on both occasions conducted by the composer. According to Le Temps, a planned performance in Buenos Aires in 1916 was cancelled because the Argentine government feared it would offend the ambassadors from Germany and its allies. The complete pianovocal score of Les Cadeaux de Noël was published by Editions Chowdens in 1915. Mathilde Seymour, who created the role of Pierre, recorded his aria Air du Petit Pierre for Path Records in 1916. In the upcoming section, we'll be dissecting synopsis and exploring its implications in greater detail. Thumb operator Purinol depicted on a 1910 French postcard setting, a snow-covered French village during the first winter of World War I. Pierre and his brother and sisters are in the ruins of their family's farmhouse. It had been burnt down by advancing German soldiers who had also killed their parents. While their older sister Clara goes to the village in search of bread, Pierre, Louis and Emma, still believing that Noël will visit them on Christmas Eve, leave their shoes by the broken hearth in the hope that they will be filled with gifts the next morning. Clara returns and tells them that Noël will not come this year. The disappointed children begin to pray that this will not be so. John, an elderly neighbor whose daughter had been killed by the Germans, hears their sad prayer and arrives disguised as Noël. He tells the three younger children that he has seen their parents in heaven and that he has brought gifts and messages from them. Emma receives dolls that she may prepare for the day when she marries and becomes a mother. Louis receives a trowel and a pickaxe that he may one day plant seeds in the field and rebuild their farm. Pierre receives a rifle with the message that he must never forget the innocent blood which has been spilled. Noël then tells them the final words from their parents, that they must love their sister Clara and each other and always live together in harmony as if they had one heart. The children then sing in turns of their promise of fulfill their parents' wishes. As they sing, a German soldier comes upon them and orders Pierre to kneel on the ground. Instead, Pierre kills the soldier with his rifle. As the children are being pursued by German soldiers, Jean rescues them with his boat and hides them in a cave by the river. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this video.